Good evening, good evening, good evening. I know we talked last night. We did a video then, but I wanted to come back today because what we know that happened last night was the Senate finished its work. They passed a bill out of the Senate. They passed that bill back to the House. So they passed the bill 60 to 40 vote. 7 Democrats, 1 independent got them over to where they needed to be to vote to reopen the government. They sent it back to the House so that the House could reconsider the bill and do its work on this new bill. So I wanted to come back to kind of talk about what was in the bill. What I will tell you is this is high level stuff. This is not like really getting into the weeds. The bill that passed was well over 300 pages. So the research that I have done really just kind of talks about what are the high level things that actually came out of the bill that was passed. What I can tell you is that there were at least 2 poison pills that they tried to, just kind of get in there. They're trying to slip poison pills into what they're calling a clean resolution. Okay? So let's just jump in and let's talk about what was in the bill. Didn't have time to do a whole lot of memorization, so I'm just going to actually read to you actually what was in the bill so that we can talk about it. So again, it's high level stuff. I'm going to really pull out on 4 things that were very high level that were in this bill, and then we'll do some deeper discussion around some of these various things. So, what's in it? Glad you asked. Here we go. First thing, it funds the government through January 30th. So yes, what we do know is that come January 30th, come January 31, moving forward, we will be back in the same position we were in. We will be back in the same position we were in because, as I've already told you, they've thrown in some poison pills, and John Thune threw one in at the last minute as well. So, second thing, it funds the Department of Veterans Affairs, Military Construction, the Department of Agriculture, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants and children, known as WIC, and Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP. It does that through Congress through September 2026. So that means that they're going to actually have to come back and revisit this stuff in September of next year if we still have a country. Still have a country. And the other thing that they did not talk about in here is the fact that while they are, we'll expand SNAP, we'll extend it, but they also took money from it. And they did that in a different place in time, right? So, we'll do that, but we're going to also take money from that same program as well. That's that. It orders that states be reimbursed for any federal expenses they paid during the shutdown. That includes states that paid SNAP benefits during the shutdown. That only makes sense. Yeah, that is the thing to do, since y'all were starving people during the shutdown as it stands. It reverses illegal mass layoffs of federal workers during the shutdown, and blocks new mass layoffs until the end of January. So we'll reverse these illegal mass layoffs that we've done, and then we'll just go back at the end of January and lay y'all off again. That's what that means. That's what that says. So that was the 4 things. Here are a few more things to note. Mass layoffs during the shutdown must be reversed within the first 5 days of the government having been open. So I would assume starting tomorrow, they have a 5-day clock to reverse those mass layoffs. Security for officials. U.S. Marshals will get $30 million extra to protect judges and the executive branch officials for the next 2 fiscal years. Supreme Court will get $28 million for the justices' security. U.S. Capitol Police will get $30 million for mutual aid and training, as well as a $45 million, over last year's funding. So it looks like they're going to get a total of $75 million. And then about $203 million for members' security. I wholly agree with that. 2 poison pills. First one, John Thune said today, and if you are watching me and you are in tuned and adept to especially independent media news, you would know this because CNN and MSNBC and Newsmax and that show is hell, not Fox. They're not going to tell you this kind of stuff. John Thune said today, so you remember we talked about that pinky swear promise that John Thune made. Well, he said today that, yeah, we can get to a vote on the Affordable Health Care Act, but Democrats have to be willing to give us more on abortion restrictions. So you have the Hyde Act that banned abortion to start with, that the Democrats did agree to. Thune is saying we want even more restrictions on top of that to assure that women in this country cannot get abortions. That was not so much in the bill, but it was a no-go for the Republicans. See, this is why people are questioning and saying, why the hell did we give up the farm for a pinky promise? Nothing written on paper, nothing written out. This is, I said this last night, this is, we will kill you now by starving you, or we will kill you later. Which would you like, by not having health care? Poison pill. Poison pill, if not in the bill, I cannot find that it's in the bill, but it is surrounded by the entire circumstances of this bill even moving forward. So that's going to be the next fight for the Democrats. They are literally going to have to fight John Thune on, we are not giving more. This is literally leading to a federal ban on abortions. This first one. Second one, senators can sue now. If this remained in this bill, senators can sue. It was intentionally left out. It was in Section 213 on page 52. It orders that any phone or other communication providers must tell a Senate office if prosecutors have asked for disclosure of Senate metadata or Senate data. A senator can sue for $500,000 if this does not happen, including retroactively to 2022. What does that mean? What that means is any of the senators that were tied to January 6th in any kind of way, if Jack Smith's office asked for their phone data, they can literally sue the government that they are supposed to be representing and get a payday of $500,000. We'll see if that made it in the bill. I cannot tell you. There was some discussion earlier as to whether or not that was added as an amendment or not. We'll find out. What I can tell you is this is why elections matter. Keep your eyes on the prize. Let's stay woke. And I'm going to do some more research, and I will be back with you all later in the week. If you like this content, please like and share.